Shavua Tov, Agutavoch. As we just finished the holiday of Pesach outside of Eretz Israel, in Israel, this Shabbos, the Shabbat, was already the day after Pesach. Tonight I'm going to tell a story of the Baal Shem Tov. We just had the Seuda of the Baal Shem Tov, called the Seuda of Mashiach, in which we connect to the purpose that why Baal Shem Tov wanted to teach his teachings of Hasidus, why did he wanted to his wellsprings of knowledge to spread forward what Mashiach himself had told him to bring Mashiach and bring the redemption. Story number 72 of the Shivchei Baal Shem Tov is called Gilgul Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon, the reincarnation of Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon. Reincarnation is an approximate translation, and the way I'll explain after, the way it's rendered in the book requires a rather lengthy explanation of what really happens. So the story says, Shamate Mechami, the author of the book, Rab Dovber of Linitz, says, I heard from my father-in-law, Rabbi Alexander, meaning Rabbi Alexander Shivchei, who was the Sofer of the Baal Shem Tov for some time. What this Rabbi Alexander told his son-in-law, who writes the book, that the Baal Shem Tov said about himself that he was a Gilgul, a reincarnation of Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon. And the Rav of the community of Linitz said that the Baal Shem Tov delve very much into the learning of the books of Rabbi Saadia Gaon. Once it was asked from him after the morning prayers that he should give a drasha, he should say something over the books of Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon. And when the Baal Shem Tov stood up and from the Amud, from the pulpit, and started giving it over, he started shaking as he did during his prayers. And he said in his drasha, in his speech, he lifted his head up and he said, Ribono shel olam, oh Master of the universe, it is revealed in front of you, is known to you, that I am not doing this for my own honor. That what I am doing, I'm doing for the honor of the house of my father and the house of my mother. There is a lot that I know and a lot that I could do, and there is no one I could reveal this to. And so is the story the way it is rendered in the Shivchei Baal Shem Tov. In the edition that I have, published in Kfar Chabad, they bring a footnote to a sicha, a speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in Tavshin Mem Dalet, that's 1984, which is rather lengthy, in which he explains that the way these stories are rendered in this book are not always exactly accurate. Apparently this Rav Dov was not like a big Talmid Chacham, and sometimes the way he rendered things were a bit, I don't know how to say, biased by lack of knowledge. So the Rebbe explains a little better the concept of what a Gilgul is. There are people who are born because their soul has been here before, and this is the soul coming back. Not the case of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov was a very special soul, was not something that had been bouncing over and over. But it does happen that there is something called the Ibur and Neshama. The Rebbe doesn't mention the word Ibur here, but I understand this to be the same thing, that a soul could pass through a body for a specific purpose during a certain amount of time to help the person fulfill a task. And as such, the Baal Shem Tov had the Neshama of Chanoch, the Neshama or the spirit, the Ruach of David HaMelech, and the Neshama of Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon in a specific moment for a specific purpose. But it's not that he was that soul that came before. And there is a letter that he wrote to his brother-in-law in which he says that he was the Gilgul of a neshama, of a soul of a Jew who lived in Tzfat in the year Shelek, Shin Lamed Gimel, which is 448 years ago. 2 years after the Aliyah Kadosh, Rabbi Tzchak Luria, passed away. So some of the Mekubalim of the time, I would imagine, I don't know, some Jew who lived in Tzfat, that was the neshama that came as the Baal Shem Tov. And that is the story. We'll come back next week. Shavua Tov, a gute Woche.